What's up guys, IFBB Classic Physique Pro, Arash Rahbar here. Wanted to make a video for you guys a little bit and give you an update on where I'm at in my Olympia prep and just overall in my life. So I'm roughly about 15 weeks out of the Olympia. The Olympia's second week in September, so I have 15 weeks to get ready. I've had a pretty decent off season. It started a little bit late because of a couple injuries that I had, so I didn't have a chance to utilize the whole off season since last September, but I have been making improvements and working on certain areas of my physique that I've wanted to improve on, which I'll tell you guys in a bit. How did I go about getting into dieting for the Olympia? And how did I make that transition? A lot of people are asking me, like, how do you transition from being off season to going into a diet? You don't want to just stop one day of bulking and then all of a sudden go into a calorie deficit, because one, you'll feel like shit, your strength is going to plummet, you're going to become very flat, your muscles are going to become deflated because of the lack of carbohydrates, muscle glycogen, but also you're very prone to losing muscle that way. So the art of bodybuilding is getting as lean as possible, ridding yourself as much body fat as possible while holding on to as much muscle as possible. And why do I say as much muscle and not all the muscle? Because it's really, really difficult, pretty much impossible to hold on to all the muscle that you have when you're dieting so strictly to get to low body fat. I'm not talking about 8-9% body fat, beach body with abs. I'm talking about sub 6% body fat, where you can see every detail and every striation and muscle fiber in your body. So for me, it's not a huge transition for two reasons. One, I pretty much eat clean all year round. I do not go out and eat junk on a daily basis. I do give myself breaks. I eat burger and fries, or I eat some sweets or something if I want, but they're planned. I never eat anything unplanned. I never just wake up and go on a binge and eat something accidentally and then try to pick up the pieces the next few days. So one, I've been eating clean. So when you're eating clean and you're used to eating chicken and vegetables, and you can make it taste good, but when you're used to eating like that, it's not really that difficult to diet. But if you're eating out every meal, if you're eating fast food, if you're eating sweets once or twice a day, to go from that to eating clean, even if it's a lot of calories, even if it's not a big deficit, but going from that to eating clean is really, really tough. And the easier you make the diet on yourself, the easier this is going to be. And I was having a conversation with a young girl the other day. She was talking to me about doing bikini, and she was just like, it's just a hobby. And I want you guys to understand, being fit and healthy and working out, I commend all of you to do it. Not everybody needs to compete. Not everyone should compete. And I hope a lot of you listening that aren't aspiring bodybuilders, you guys are going to learn from me as well. But when you're competing, when you're getting ready for a show, it's not just a hobby. It takes over your life. It affects other aspects of your life. What am I talking about? It affects your relationships with your family, with your loved ones, with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. It affects your work. You can get moody, you can get tired, you get drowsy. It's very difficult. One thing that I do think I have an upper hand is I've been playing with diets and cardio and dieting down since I was a teenager. So for me, when I started to compete, it wasn't such a new thing. People said, oh, Arash Rahbar came out of nowhere and he turned pro in 3 amateur shows. I didn't come out of nowhere. I had been doing it for several years. I just hadn't competed yet. So without going off on a tangent, for me, getting ready for the Olympia, one of the main things is coming down in weight, right? Because we have a weight requirement. If we didn't have a weight requirement, I would look completely different right now. Right now, I'm running low carbs for the past 6 days, which is a little bit too much this far out, but I want to bring my weight down a little bit more early on, so I have a little bit more freedom going into the show to be able to grow, to be able to eat a little bit more, because a body that is deprived of carbohydrates is kind of flat and stringy. And that's how, I don't know how I convey in camera today, but that's how I feel now. I'm very, very flat compared to my normal state. Tomorrow will be a high carb day for me. It'll be more than 3 times the amount of carbs I've been eating for the past 6 days. So on my low carb days, what I do is I'll have my carbohydrates before and after my training. 2 really, really important meals. Third most important meal being meal 1, breakfast, because you're breaking a fast. Anytime you're breaking a fast, it's very important to get a good amount of protein and carbohydrates in you, because you don't want to be running on zero. If you get up in the morning and you go out and you start working or walking or even if it's not exercise, your body needs glucose, it needs energy, it needs fuel to operate, just like a car needs gas. If your stomach is empty, it's gonna burn muscle. If there's none in the muscle, then it's gonna burn glycogen in the liver and the storage, and then it'll go and burn muscle. So you really wanna be careful with that. But before I train, I eat it to fuel myself, and after I eat it to recover and replenish my glycogen stores so I can actually grow. If you guys get stronger in the gym and you lift heavy weights, but you don't replenish your glycogen stores, if you don't put back the carbs in the muscle that you just expended, you're not gonna grow, you're not gonna get any better. You might even get smaller, you might even lose muscle tissue. So, you have to weigh out what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of young guys will message me and say, oh, I've been dieting for 3 weeks, I feel like shit, I have no energy, I'm so flat, I'm so small. And that's because when they think of dieting, they think they can't eat anything. What you have to do is take whatever you're eating and subtract a given amount of carbohydrates or fat, overall calories, and slowly take them away. The rule of thumb in bodybuilding is you want to eat as much as you can while getting lean. You want to do the least amount of cardio you can while getting lean. There's no reason to do 2 hours of cardio if you can do 30 minutes and get lean. There's no reason to cut your calories down to 1,000 if you're getting lean on 3,000. I'm not saying a lot of you guys can get shredded by eating that much and doing that little cardio, but you want to see what's needed. Another thing is, I was just talking to Nick Rizzolette's shooting me today, good friend, good bodybuilder, great guy over at the gym, is that your body adapts. Our bodies fight everything we want to do in bodybuilding. That's why bodybuilding is difficult. So competitors doing an hour and a half to 2 hours of cardio towards the end of their preparation, end of their diet, getting ready for a show, or even just getting ready to be in shape for the summer, why would anyone be doing that much cardio? And the answer is because they started with 30, went to 40, went to 50, went to 60 minutes, went to 90 minutes. They became used to it. Their body became efficient at doing that. And if you're a professional athlete, like a football player, or a basketball player, or a baseball player, that's amazing. If you're efficient at your activity, that means you're not going to expend a lot of energy and calories, and you're not going to get as tired, and you can perform better in games and in the field. But we're not doing it to perform better. We're doing it to burn fat, to expend calories. And if you're efficient at the treadmill that you've been doing every day for weeks, or the Stairmaster that you've been doing every day for weeks, you're not going to burn fat. You're not going to burn calories. So how do you get around that? High intensity cardio is always better. HIIT, H-I-I-T. High intensity cardio, this is not a discussion, this is not an argument, it's a scientific proven fact over several university studies that it burns a great deal, not 20 or 30%. It burns double the fat that you would burn doing steady state cardio, but it also burns a lot of muscle glycogen. What does that mean? You're burning carbs, that's it. When you do steady state cardio, you're burning this much fat, but you burn almost no glycogen. When you do HIIT, you burn this much fat, but you burn a lot of glycogen. You burn more glycogen. Big fucking deal. Just make sure you replenish your glycogen stores. For those of you that are in deficits, cardio deficits, I would definitely take glutamine and branched chain amino acids before and during your cardio. So I ease in, I'm a big believer in HIIT and high intensity cardio, but in the beginning I ease in some steady state cardio. Not super slow, enough to get my heart rate elevated and do a little bit of sweating, but nothing too crazy. Just nice and easy, and my diet is still clean, remember, and I'm doing low carb days and high carb days, so I'm carb cycling, which is really, really good. The way you guys gotta think of it is that your muscles, let's say your muscle is this cup right here, and when you eat carbohydrates, the glycogen store, the carbohydrate store in the muscle fills. If you eat high carbs every day, after a while, after a couple days, probably 3 to 4 days, your muscles fill up with carbs. You look great the first day, you look great the second day, you look hard and full, and then they spill over. It spills over. If you ever heard that term in bodybuilding, it means the muscle is holding so much carbs now, it spills over the muscle and it goes between the muscle and the skin, and you get that smooth look. So you can't do high carb every day and get a freaky pump. After a certain while, usually over 3 days, because the glycogen stores, if they're depleted, take up to 3 days to fill up, you're gonna look like shit and you're gonna feel like shit too. If you ask a lot of guys that are really, really big in the off season, eating tons of calories, they feel strong and they feel good in the beginning, but after a while, there's hormonal imbalances and insulin spikes and blood sugar and a lot of things come into play, and you end up not feeling good and not having energy. If you don't have energy when you wake up first thing in the morning, there's an issue with your diet. You need to fix that. So the whole spilling over thing, to go back to that, you want to eat enough carbs where you're strong enough and your muscles are full, so you look good and you feel good, but not so much where you spill over. And that's when carb cycling is a very safe and easy, effective way of doing it. You could do 3 days of low carb. So now within those 3 days, you deplete your muscle glycogen. You utilize the glycogen that you had from the last high carb day, and you burn fat. 3 days is a good amount of time. You can even stretch it out to 4 or 5, depending on what stage you are, what your body fat is, and what you're trying to accomplish. Then after those 3 or 4 days, you do a high carb day. I like to do it on a big body part day or a lagging body part day. Because think about it. If you have a big body part like legs or back, they're gonna expend more energy during the workout. Or if you have a lagging body part, you wanna give it more fuel, more carbohydrates to recover and grow, and also you'll be stronger that day because you're eating more, so you'll be able to lift heavier on the lagging body part day. And this does not mean you go off and you eat gummy bears and fucking pizza. I'm talking about clean, same food that you've been eating, but higher carbohydrates. Me personally, on those higher carbohydrate days, I keep my fats low. I won't increase fats as well. Why? As we know, protein is a building block of cells, of nails, skin, hair, and mainly for our purpose, what's important is muscle. That's protein. Carbohydrates and fats are energy sources. So the reason pizza, a food like pizza, is so devastatingly bad for you, if you think about it, why is pizza so bad? It's homemade dough, it's high quality cheese, hopefully if you eat it at a decent pizzeria, and it's tomato sauce. What's so bad about it? It's 2 energy sources and a shitload of 2 energy sources, a lot of carbs and a lot of fat. So your body will always utilize carbohydrates before it utilizes fat, unless you have 0 carbs and you're in a ketogenic diet, but that's a discussion for another video. So your body always utilizes carbohydrates for energy prior to fat. So what happens when you eat a slice of pizza? Your body will take the carbs for energy. Mind you, 3, 4, 5 slices of pizza on an average person, you don't need that much energy. So your body's gonna take it for energy and then some, and it's gonna store the rest as fat. And then all that cheese, all that fat, your body doesn't know what to do with it. It just makes you fat. You're just gonna end up storing it as fat. So I like to keep the fats low, and I'll do really, really high carbs, and I'll do a good amount before my training and a good amount after. I'll even have an intra-workout carbohydrate, like a highly branched cyclic dextrin. If you guys follow me on social media, you know that I'm a big, big fan of cyclic dextrin. It's just an incredible carbohydrate. It's the best that I've experimented with over waxy maize and dextrose and all the stuff that I've tried over the past 20 years. So currently that's what I'm doing. I'll do 3, 4 days of low carb. This week I actually just did, as I told you guys, I did 5 days and today's my off day. So today will also be a little bit lower. It'll be the same as what I've been doing, but tomorrow will be a high day with legs. And then I'll reevaluate. Not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow is when I see how that high carb day affected me. And I can tell you right now, I'm gonna be looking leaner regardless of what my weight is. My weight might be a little bit higher for a day or two because carbohydrates hold water, but I'm going to look harder and leaner. Why am I going to look leaner? I've gotten leaner over the past week from doing low carbs. So I lost body fat and I can see it. I look leaner in the mirror for sure. I can see my abs and I can see a lot of definition when I flex. But because I've been doing low carbs, I'm flat. The muscles are a little bit sunken in. They're not pushed to the surface. So you have the muscle here, then you have fat, water, and skin. So there's a little buffer here. If the muscle is full of carbohydrates and it's pushed to the surface, you're gonna see the detail in the muscle at the surface. I hope this makes sense. I don't have a drawing board to show you guys, but if the muscle is full of carbohydrates, it's pushed to the surface, you're gonna appear to be leaner. But if the muscle is flat and it doesn't have carbohydrates in it and it's hiding behind that little bit of water, the fat and the skin, you don't look as lean. So a lot of my guys, when they're dieting, I tell them you're leaner here. And he says, really, I don't feel leaner. A lot of my clients. And it's like, I can tell you are leaner here. If we do a high carb day or if we do a refeed cheat meal, you're gonna see it. It's gonna show that you're gonna pop. And that's what we really wanna accomplish the day of the show. I don't give a shit if guys look flat or small a week away from a show. It's actually to their benefit. The reason peak week is so important, and you guys can do this even if you're hanging out and going to the beach or going on vacation. If you guys diet to look good for the summer, why not do a peak week as well and look really good for a specific weekend like Memorial Day? If you flatten out, if you deplete your glycogen stores, what happens is your body overcompensates once you eat carbs because it thinks it's dying. You know, your body's very smart. And if you guys understand that the body's smarter than the bodybuilder, and you understand why your body does what it does, then you're gonna be that much better at getting into shape and peaking for a show or for the beach or whatever it may be. Your body's always trying to stay alive and maintain a neutral point, which is called homeostasis. If you don't know what it is, Google it. It's very important to know because it's why you guys are alive. If your body didn't have that brain, that mechanism of maintaining homeostasis, you would have dropped dead a long time ago. You're basically starving yourself. Your body thinks it's dying. There's no glycogen in the muscles for the body and the muscles to perform. So when you do eat carbohydrates, your body will overcompensate and actually hold more carbs in your muscle than you normally would. So that's why a lot of bodybuilders will deplete, do really, really low carbs the last week of the show, even do circuit training, meaning training the whole entire body to deplete whatever lingering glycogen, lingering carbohydrates you may have. So now when it comes time Friday before the show and Friday night, Saturday morning to eat carbs, you can eat a lot of carbs without the fear of spilling over like I mentioned before. You can eat all the carbs and actually fill the muscle up. Now sodium in water is a whole nother science. It takes a lot of experimenting, a lot of reading and researching. It's really, really difficult. And that's why bodybuilding is so difficult. So again, I'm trying to tell you guys about my Olympia prep, but I go off on little tangents because there's so much to be said on all these various topics. It's not so cut and dry. I want to share with you guys my experiences. I want to tell you guys why I'm doing what I'm doing, but I also need to tell you guys how things work and how the body works, because you sitting there at home watching this, you can't do exactly what I do because our bodies are different. We're in different timeline of you know, your bodybuilding career. You might be 1 year into training. You can't eat and train like me, but you have to understand why I eat and train this way so you can implement it to your training and eating. You have to understand how I ate and trained when I was your age, when I was 1 year into training, when I was 5 years into training. That's what I try to share with you guys so you can use it. I don't want to just sit here and do backflips and entertain you. I want to show you and teach you stuff that you can use for yourself. So what I'm doing in my Olympia prep, starting out this far, I'm carb cycling and I'm doing light cardio. So I'm trying to get leaner and I'm trying to lower body weight, but I don't want to do it too aggressively because I still, over the next 15 weeks, I can still progress. Usually when you're in a calorie deficit and you're dieting hard, it's very hard to build muscle and it's very hard to improve. But if you do it correctly, if you carb cycle, if you have high days on certain times and you give your body a surplus of calorie at the right time, you can actually improve while you are getting leaner. But if you just starve yourself for 4 months, no. Not only will you not improve, but you're gonna look worse. You're gonna lose a lot of muscle, you're gonna get flat, and you're just gonna get very, very stringy. And this is something that you guys can either learn through trial and error, or you can do a lot of research and reading and listen to people like me, and hopefully it'll aid you in your own journey. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted on the next 15 weeks. I'm gonna do a lot of videos in the gym, a lot of videos here at my place, at the store. You guys have any requests, let me know. Please look through my other videos. A lot of you guys are requesting stuff that I've talked about on Instagram or made videos about YouTube. So just go through the videos, spend some time. I promise you, they're not boring. There's something to be had from all of the videos. So I'll keep you guys up to date in the next 15 weeks, and hopefully I'll make some more videos for you guys and we'll take it from there. Until next time.